Good morning, class. So yesterday we took our pre-assessment for this unit about the American Revolutionary War. So remember, with the pre-assessment, you're not being graded in the sense that it's going to affect your grade. I look at it and I score it, and when we take our post-assessment along with our projects, and then I compare them so I can kind of analyze whether I need to reteach a concept and so forth. So it's more for my purposes. So I just want to remind you guys about that because I know we're getting used to that pre-assessment for our units. So we kind of introduced the American Revolution yesterday, and today we're going to talk about the causes of the American Revolution, what led the colonists to fight this war. See, they didn't just decide one day, we're gonna fight Britain. No, they didn't just decide to do this. There was a lot of events leading up to the Declaration of Independence and then the war. So we're gonna go through those, but I want to do it in a different way. Normally we read our textbooks and stuff like that, but now we're gonna read our textbook, but we're also going to read a reading passage that I'm going to give to you. And what we're gonna do with that reading passage is annotate it. Who knows what annotate means? All right, so maybe make some notes. So when we annotate this, we're going to have two different color highlighters, okay? One highlighter is going to be for important words, or maybe like new vocabulary words. The blue highlighter is going to be for important concepts or important dates. And when we annotate too, we can make notes in the margins, or our margins here are our sides. These ones aren't very big, so we might have to make them on a separate piece of paper, but normally you can make notes in your margins, you highlight, right? Annotating allows us to understand our text on a deeper level. So what I want each and every one of you to do, okay, you each have a copy of this. I want you to read it to yourself quietly, and when you're done reading it, you need to grab two different colored highlighters. Okay, I would like you to look up at the Smart TV. Okay, I have it casted up there. I'm going to show you how to annotate several of these paragraphs so you can kind of see what it looks like. And then we'll do some together. And then I'm going to have you annotate the last couple paragraphs on your own so you can practice, okay? Annotating takes a ton of practice. You can't just do it super quickly and get the hang of it. It takes practice, understanding and pulling the important parts and making notes about things you're not sure of. It's a new skill we're learning, okay? So don't expect it to be perfect on the first shot. Okay, so our title, What Caused the American Revolution? So from this title, I think we can gather that we're going to figure out the events that led up to the American Revolution. What caused it? Okay, so for example, the first paragraph. Today, the United States is one of the greatest powers of the world, but less than 300 years ago, it wasn't even a country. Instead, there were 13 colonies loyal to the King of Great Britain. Then, many, but not all, citizens of the colonies decided they wanted to be their own independent country. The American Revolution was fought, and the rest is history. What caused the colonies to declare their independence? The answer is a lot of things. So in this paragraph, they're just kind of introducing what they're going to talk about in the rest of the passage. But I am going to highlight an important concept with one of my colors. Okay, I'm going to highlight 13 colonies loyal to the King of Great Britain, okay? That's kind of important to understand. A lot of people think we were just the United States, and they forget that we were originally colonists that were loyal to the king. When they say loyal to the king, they mean we followed Great Britain's laws. We did everything the king wanted us to do. They were under his rule still, even though they were across the ocean. Okay, so paragraph 2. The greatest factor in the start of the American Revolution was the large distance between the colonies and Great Britain. It could take months to cross the Atlantic Ocean. This meant that Great Britain mostly ignored the colonies. Over many decades of neglect, the colonists had gotten a taste of freedom and they liked it. Okay, so what I'm looking for in this paragraph, like I said, is important terms or vocab words and important dates or important information. Okay, so I think an important concept, again, oops, wrong color, is I'm going to highlight over many decades, okay? I think that's really important to consider, that this happened over a long span of time, that they got really tired of the king. And so it was a buildup of things. It wasn't just one thing that caused them to want freedom, okay? In the third paragraph, this all ended after the French and Indian War. The war left Britain in serious debt, and they turned to the colonists to pay more taxes to service this debt. The colonists, who paid the lowest taxes in the kingdom, did not like the idea of sending any more money to Britain. So here, I'm going to highlight the words debt and taxes, okay? Because this is a type of economy thing, we're paying off debt. I might write in my margins, maybe how much money in today's rate, how much money did the colonists pay in taxes? Right, that's a question that we can look up, and they can probably find a pretty close estimate, okay? So that's one of my questions. But I'm also going to highlight in my important concepts color, this all ended after the French and Indian War, okay? They owed a debt, so they taxed the colonists, okay? So I've modeled for you how to do several of the paragraphs. So I'm going to call on people. I would like you to help me annotate the next couple of paragraphs, okay? I want to hear what you think needs to be annotated. Okay, now that we've all worked together on these annotations, I would like you to annotate the last 3 paragraphs, okay? And I'll do it up here on my own, but I want you to highlight what you think is important, pull the important parts. Okay, we all have different brains, and we're all our own learner, and so we're all going to have different ideas of what is important to pull out of here, okay? So while you're doing that, I will do it on mine, and then we'll kind of compare at the end and just throw out some ideas about what people got. Okay, so what are some things that you guys found in those last 3 paragraphs of this reading passage? Right, so in 1770, the British troops fired into a crowd and killed 5 civilians. So that was called the Boston Massacre. That is a really, really important concept. That is a great job. And that's a really important detail in this story, in this narrative. What about the next paragraph? Okay, so the Boston Tea Party. So do you see how these things are escalating more and more and more? Okay, it seems like each year something bigger is happening, or every couple years another big event is happening that's leading up. Okay, have you ever been so mad but you try to keep it in, and it just builds and builds and builds, and finally you just explode? That's kind of what happened with the colonists. Okay, so if we have that annotated, your assignment, okay, this is a new skill, like I said, so we're going to keep practicing on annotating different informational text and pulling out the important pieces. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take those important pieces and summarize them. So you're going to take the timeline of events that are right here, okay, and you're going to create your own timeline. It can look however you would like it to, okay? So just map it out, make sure your dates are in chronological order. What does that mean? Right, that they go in order of time. Right, so we start with 1763 and it's going to end with 1776. Okay, it gives you the event, but what I want you to do is summarize what happened at each event on your timeline, okay? If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Okay, this might take a couple days. If you choose to do any illustrations, that is completely up to you. It's your timeline. I am more focused on the summarizing and making sure we're able to pull the important information from this passage and from your textbook. Please feel free to use your textbook as well, okay?